Welcome to the Gaggle. All right, our first hot topic, King Charles III's speech to Congress. This is the first royal address since 1991, and it touches on shared democratic values, environmental protection, and recent violence near the Capitol. Who wants to kick it off?
Can I just say, I really appreciated how King Charles emphasized the importance of environmental protection. I mean, as a mom, I'm constantly thinking about the world we're leaving for our kids. It's not just a political issue, it's about ensuring a safe and sustainable future for the next generation. I think both things can be true here. We can honor our democratic values and also take serious action on climate change.
That's a fair point, Milena, and I agree that environmental protection is crucial. But I have to say, the way King Charles highlighted democratic values really stood out to me. This is where the strength of the US-UK alliance lies. We need to focus on defending those shared values, especially given the political climate we're in. And while I support sensible environmental policies, it's important we remember the balance needed to maintain economic growth and energy independence.
No, wait. Let's not gloss over the fact that King Charles took a diplomatic shot at Trump without naming him. As a Nicaraguan American who's seen what happens when leaders dismiss democratic values, that emphasis on democracy was no accident. And about environmental protection, honey, no, we can't ignore that either. There's no economy on a dead planet. This speech was a wake-up call wrapped in royal charm, and we better listen.
I have to jump in here, Chloe. Look, I've said this before. I was wrong to think Trump could be managed from inside. But we can't reduce every discussion to a referendum on him. King Charles's focus on democratic values is indeed a reminder, but it also has to be about what we do next to preserve those values. And on environmental protection, I believe in finding a path that marries sustainability with economic growth. We need both to succeed.
All right, our first hot topic, King Charles III's historic speech to the US Congress and its impact on US-UK relations. With global uncertainties and political tensions in the mix, how effective can a royal address be in mending diplomatic bridges? Who wants to kick it off?
I think we can all agree that a royal address like this carries a unique symbolic weight. But we have to be realistic about the tangible impact it can have on mending diplomatic relations. Despite the warmth of King Charles's words, the real work will depend on how both nations navigate their current political differences, especially with the Trump-Starmer dynamic adding complexity. It's essential for both the US and UK to move beyond ceremonial gestures and focus on actionable strategies that address pressing issues like the conflict with Iran and the war in Ukraine. This is exactly why the party has to change, to prioritize effective diplomacy over mere symbolism.
Can I just say, while I get that a royal speech might seem more symbolic than practical, there's something to be said for the power of symbolism in diplomacy. These kinds of gestures can reaffirm shared values and provide a foundation for tackling complex issues. As a mom, I see it like setting a good example for my kids, showing them how to talk things out even when we're not solving the problem immediately. So, while the speech itself won't solve the Iran conflict, it could set the tone for more productive conversations moving forward.
I see your point, Milena. Symbolism has its place, but we can't rely on it alone to resolve the real issues at hand. The strength of the US-UK relationship has always been in how we tackle challenges together, not just in the words we share publicly. While King Charles's speech might set a positive tone, it's crucial that both nations move beyond speeches and engage in practical, collaborative efforts to address pressing global challenges, like Iran and Ukraine. We need to ensure that our actions reinforce the values we so publicly declare.
You know, Juliana, I hear you, but let me tell you something. Symbolism isn't just window dressing. King Charles's speech was about more than pretty words. It was a strategic reminder of what ties us together, especially when leaders like Trump have frayed those connections. The US-UK relationship has hinged on shared ideals, and that speech called us back to that core. But you're absolutely right. We need to turn words into action, especially when dealing with issues like Iran and Ukraine, where our values and interests are on the line. It's not one or the other. It's about rallying behind our shared history to make future progress.
That's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us on the Gaggle. We appreciate you being here. See you tomorrow.